Have you ever thought about why the relationships with the people around you are getting more tense? Do you get into pointless fights a lot? Do you feel like people are slowly pulling away from you? If these things bother you, it might be time to think about whether you are becoming a toxic person in the high press. Sometimes in modern life, we don't see that our actions and habits are hurting other people. Stress, anxiety, and our own wants and needs can lead us down a bad road without us even realizing it. To break out of this cycle, we need to be fully aware of ourselves and what we're doing. In this video, we'll look at 10 signs that you might be becoming a bad person. You will learn about bad habits you may not have known you had and how to change them for the better. Through the view of Stoicism, everything from controlling jealousy to not caring about others and not owning up to mistakes will be shown. Marcus Aurelius said that the quality of your ideas determines how happy you are, so let us help you change the way you think and act to regain true peace and happiness. Ask yourself, are you ready to face these possibly uncomfortable truths in order to become a better person? Are you ready to learn valuable lessons from Stoicism in order to make your relationships and life better? Don't miss a single second of this video. Each message Mage gives about Stoicism could be the key to making a new door open for good change. Don't miss any words. Watch until the end. Change starts with being aware, and you are the first person to become aware. Signs. Number 1. You want to be in charge of everything all the time. Do you feel like you need to be in charge of everything around you to be happy? If so, you might be showing one of the signs of becoming a toxic person. This need for control often comes from anxiety and a lack of self-confidence. When people are feeling unsafe, they try to control their surroundings to lower their risk. This control gives them a false sense of security, but also puts constant stress and pressure on themselves. Epictetus had deep insights into this topic. He thought that human suffering is not caused by outside events, but by how we perceive and react to them. He told us to be clear about what we can and cannot control. We can only control our own thoughts, feelings, and actions. We can't control other people's behavior or outside factors. Trying to control these things only makes us tired and frustrated. Epictetus's own life is a great example of his philosophy of focusing on what we can control. As a slave who had to live in harsh conditions, he learned to accept the things he couldn't change and work on controlling himself. He realized that true freedom comes from letting go of what we can't change and focusing on making ourselves better. Sharing Epictetus's point of view. Remember that Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, said that very little is needed to make a life happy. He meant that happiness doesn't come from controlling everything, but from accepting and adapting to what happens. Also, remember that true freedom comes from accepting what you can't control. Instead of wasting time and energy trying to control the uncontrollable, work on improving yourself and building a strong mind. Mental freedom and inner peace don't come from controlling everything, but from letting go and accepting reality. That's how you will find true peace and happiness in life. Signs number 2. It seems like you are protective and envious. Being jealous and wanting to own someone are common but very unhealthy emotions that many of us experience. These emotions hurt not only others, but also our own minds and souls. But why do we often feel these emotions? The answer lies in our deepest fears of loss and uncertainty. Souls. When we're not sure about our relationships or our status, we often become jealous. This is because we think other people won't love or recognize us because we're not good enough. This insecurity makes us want to control and possess others to keep from feeling abandoned or unloved. Unfortunately, jealousy and possessiveness hurt the people we love and start a damaging cycle of pain and conflict. One common example from real life is someone who is always jealous of someone else's successful career. Even though his friend has worked hard and accomplished a lot, he can't help but feel bitter and envious. He tries to downplay his friend's achievements and look for similar opportunities, but this only makes their relationship worse because his jealousy has taken away his joy and valuable friendship. Marcus Aurelius wrote a lot about how important it is to control your emotions. He thought that we shouldn't let bad feelings control our actions and choices. Instead of being protective and jealous, he said, we should learn to be thankful for what we have and accept it. Aelius told us to work on improving ourselves and living a good life, because those are the only things we can really manage. And finally, ask yourself if you've ever been too jealous. Leave your story in the comments to help other people learn. Sharing our own experiences not only helps us learn more about ourselves, but it also helps other people realize and get rid of their bad feelings. Signs number 3. Imagine that you are always unhappy with the people around you. No matter how hard they try, you can see little flaws and mistakes that make you angry and let down. This is because you are too perfect and expect too much from others. Toxic people like you are on the rise, my dear friend. If this is really true about you, the signs are clear. We often have high expectations of other people and expect them to live up to them, but we forget that they are just regular people, not superheroes, and they can make mistakes and have limits. Perfection is a lie, and trying to reach it will only make you unhappy and stressed. That feeling of dissatisfaction is also caused by social expectations. Norms, rules, and societal opinions make us want others to act in ways we think are right. Steve Jobs is a famous example from history. He was known for always expecting perfection from his employees. This helped Apple be successful, but it also made the workplace stressful and tense, because employees often felt like they were never good enough and never met his standards. This harsh treatment not only hurt the workers' morale, but it also made it hard for them to get along with each other at work. Seneca's philosophy can help us understand this problem better. He thought that acceptance and gratitude were the keys to happiness and inner peace. He told us to be thankful for what we have and accept what we can't change. When we're unhappy with someone, it's usually because we don't respect what they've done or what they've contributed. Instead of looking for perfection, we should learn to accept and value what others bring to the table. Finally, ask yourself, why am I unhappy with them? If you want to be truly fair and reasonable, try shifting your attention to the good things that other people have brought into your life. The happiness you experience depends on the quality of your thoughts. Signs number 4. You compete too much in today's society. Competition is an important part of life. We are taught to compete from a young age, from school to the workplace and even in our personal relationships. This is because competition is seen as a way to help people grow and succeed. But as you know, it can also be bad when it goes too far. Never-ending competition can cause stress, pressure, and even burnout. When people feel like they have to beat others, they can easily experience anxiety, loss of confidence, and even mental tiredness. This not only hurts their own health, but it also hurts their relationships with others. When the football season is in full swing, you can see how hard the players train. They want to score and win, so they train hard without giving their bodies a chance to recover. This leads to injuries and fatigue. Too much competition hurts their physical health and mental health too, by causing constant stress and pressure. We can look at this issue more wisely if we follow Stoic thought and listen to Epicurus's advice. Epicurus said we shouldn't compare ourselves to others, but instead should focus on ourselves and what we can control. He thought that comparison and competition that weren't necessary only made people unhappy and hurt. Instead of trying to beat others, he thought that people should try to be better. We should work on getting better and doing the best we can with what we have. Being satisfied doesn't come from beating other people, but from making progress and growing as a person. Seneca, another Stoic philosopher, said, "He who is content is rich." He told us to learn to be happy with what we have instead of always wanting more. We shouldn't always be comparing ourselves to others and trying to beat them. Instead, we should learn to respect our own successes and be thankful for what we have done. Peace and happiness don't come from having more than other people. They come from knowing how valuable we are and being happy with what we have. Signs number 5. You don't understand, lack of empathy isn't always caused by bad intentions. It can also be caused by personal experiences or the environments in which someone grows up. For example, people who grow up in a very competitive environment that values weakness may not care about other people's pain, because they learn to see everything through the lens of success and failure, ignoring the emotional and spiritual needs of those around them. Also, people who are too self-centered and always put themselves ahead of others can quickly lose the ability to understand how others feel. Imagine a common situation. Homeless people who are having a hard time living on the streets are cold and ignored by some people. This lack of empathy makes the pain and loneliness of those who are struggle even worse. But in the midst of this coldness, there are still warm hearts ready to share food and clothes with those in need. These are people who know that a little kindness, like giving someone a meal, clothes, or just a word of encouragement or a smile, can bring hope and warmth to the homeless. Meditations on Stoic philosophy, especially the ideas of Marcus Aurelius, can teach us a lot about being kind and understanding. Aurelius says that we are born to work together, like feet, hands and eyes, like the two rows of upper and lower teeth. This shows that compassion and kindness are natural human traits that are necessary for creating a peaceful society. As he says, each person is a part of the whole, and we can only truly fulfill our role in society when we share and empathize with others' pain. So, try to understand and empathize with their pain. It is not only a necessary virtue, but also the basis for building strong relationships and a humane society. When we listen and share, we not only help others get through their problems, but we also create a place where love and respect can live. Your presence here shows that you are serious about spotting toxic people so that good relationships can grow. By sharing and liking this movie, you promise to follow the last 5 signs. Your actions will inspire us to teach Stoicism to even more people. How to understand empathy. Empathy is being able to understand and share someone else's thoughts. Putting yourself in someone else's shoes and feeling and seeing things from their point of view is what it means. Different kinds of empathy. Cognitive empathy means knowing how other people feel, and emotional empathy means feeling how other people feel. How important it is to have empathy in order to build strong relationships, encourage cooperation, and help people and groups understand each other. We can bond with others more deeply and meet their needs better when we do this. Developing empathy. Practices like active listening, understanding other points of view, and being aware can help you develop empathy. Being open, interested, and ready to understand other people's situations are needed. Empathy in action. People who are empathetic show care, kindness, and understanding toward others. They work hard to make places where everyone feels welcome, respected, and understood. Beginning, not having empathy. Someone is said to lack empathy if they have trouble understanding or sharing the feelings and experiences of others. It can show up in many ways, from not being able to recognize your feelings to not caring about the well-being of others. People who don't have empathy may find it hard to connect with others on a deep level and may hurt or offend those around them without trying to. Understanding and dealing with a lack of empathy usually requires self-reflection, education, and sometimes help from an expert. It's important to remember that even if someone doesn't usually have empathy, they can learn and grow it. People can work on developing more empathy and improving their relationships with others by using skills that help them understand other points of view and practicing those skills. Signs. Number 6. You often trick other people. Self-control is the most powerful thing you can have. Seneca's quote stresses how important it is to control oneself instead of trying to control others. Manipulation is not only bad behavior, but it also shows that a person isn't good at controlling their feelings and wants. For many psychological reasons, people feel the need to control others. Insecurity and lack of confidence are 2 of the main ones. When people don't trust their own skills, they often try to control others to feel safer. People use manipulation to get more power and control in relationships, and it also helps them hide their fears and flaws. People also manipulate others to get what they want without thinking about the effects because they want to be strong and feel important. There have been many famous cases of trickery in history. The Italian political thinker Niccolo Machiavelli wrote The Prince, which has controversial ideas about power and how to use it. Machiavelli said that leaders could use any means necessary, even lies and trickery, to stay in power and reach their goals. His ideas have caused a lot of debates about politics and ethics, And while this approach might work in the short run, in contrast to Machiavelli, it ends up in mistrust and conflict that hurts relationships and the manipulator's image. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, wrote that it was important to be honest and treat others with respect. In his work Meditations, he said that we should focus on improving ourselves and living morally instead of using others to get what we want. Aurelius thought that we could only find inner peace and make lasting relationships if we told the truth and treated each other with care. True freedom comes from being honest and treating each other with respect. Instead of trying to control and manipulate others, we should learn to control ourselves and respect everyone's freedom. This will not only make us better people, but it will also make our community more peaceful and safe. As Seneca said, real power lies not in controlling others, but in controlling oneself. Signs number 7. No matter what, you never honor personal boundaries. Personal limits must be respected in order to keep relationships healthy. Everyone has limits and private areas they don't want other people to enter. Respecting these boundaries not only helps keep relationships harmonious, but it also shows mutual respect and understanding. However, sometimes we may cross these boundaries, either accidentally or on purpose, which can lead to dissatisfaction and conflict. Epictetus's advice and the Stoic philosophy can help us understand how important it is to treat others with care. Freedom Epicurus said, "It is not your job to govern the universe." This means that everyone has the freedom to choose and be in charge of their own life. Crossing personal boundaries is not only an infringement on this freedom, but also a lack of respect for others' values and rights. To find inner peace and keep healthy relationships, we must learn to respect personal boundaries and stay out of other people's lives unnecessarily. Finally, ask yourself, have you ever experienced a situation where your boundaries were not respected? Leave a comment if you have never had this happen, or have you ever experienced a lack of boundary respect if you have? Then share your story so that others can learn from it and help each other get over it. Signs number 8. You always say you're wrong. Psychology says that people often don't admit their mistakes because they are afraid of losing face, not having enough confidence, or being judged. When people admit their mistakes, they have to face the fact that they aren't perfect, which can make them feel insecure and anxious. In a very competitive environment, admitting mistakes can also be seen as a sign of weakness, which can mean losing promotion opportunities or being looked down upon by co-workers. This behavior of not taking responsibility can be common at work, especially if you have a bad boss who always blames the team and never takes responsibility himself. This behavior not only makes workers lose trust and respect, but it also makes the workplace dangerous because everyone is afraid and doesn't trust their leaders. Stoic ideas, especially Epictetus's advice, can help us understand how important it is to be humble and admit your mistakes. Epictetus thought that if we want to be at peace with ourselves and grow as people, we need to learn to admit when we're wrong and take responsibility for what we did. He stressed that humility is not only a necessary virtue, but also a way for us to grow and improve ourselves. Not admitting our mistakes hurts our relationships with others and our own growth. Marcus Aurelius wrote a lot about this. Instead of blaming others, learn to accept your mistakes, learn from them, and get better. This not only makes us better people, but it also makes the world a better place to live and work where everyone can grow and thrive. There's a strength in admitting when you're wrong, even though most people see it as a sign of weakness. To admit your mistakes, you need to be brave, humble, and self-aware. Having this way of thinking will not only help you grow as a person, it will also help you build better relationships based on trust and honesty. Humility. Being humble means admitting you were wrong, accepting that you make mistakes and being willing to learn from them is what it means. Being humble is a key trait of great leaders and people who are always trying to get better. Opening the door to learning. Admitting you were wrong makes room for learning and growth. When you know where you went wrong, you can fix it, improve your learning, and keep from making the same mistakes again. Trust. Being honest builds trust. People trust and believe you more when you're willing to admit when you're wrong. If someone is honest and admits they were wrong, others are more likely to respect and follow them. Resolution of conflicts. Admitting you were wrong can help end a fight and bring people together. It shows that you care about the relationship more than yourself and are ready to swallow your pride in order to make things right. This method helps people talk to each other and work together better. Setting a strong example. Admitting when you're wrong makes you a great example for others to follow. In both your personal and professional life, being responsible and humble will encourage others to do the same. This will create an environment of honesty and constant growth. Accepting that you're not always right is a key part of growing as a person and as a person with others. Being honest and humble is more important than being perfect. Being honest and humble will help you learn, grow, and make your relationships stronger. Signs. Number 9. You can't seem to stay away from trouble. It's not a coincidence that some people are drawn to drama and conflict. Part of the reason for this is psychology and the need for attention. If someone feels like they're not getting enough attention or value, they may unconsciously create dramatic situations to feel more important. Living environment and upbringing also play a big role. People who grow up in homes or societies with a lot of fights often repeat these bad habits later on in life. History is full of examples of people who lived in the whirlwind of drama. Think about Queen Cleopatra of Egypt, one of the most famous people in history. Her life was full of trouble and tragedy, from her complicated relationships with Julius Caesar and Mark Antony to her struggles for power in a world that was unstable. Cleopatra's life was never short of drama, and even though she was a great leader who had a big impact, the tragic choices she made and the events that happened around her led to tragic outcomes in Stoic philosophy. As we go through tough times, Seneca teaches us how to stay calm and collected. He stresses that inner peace is not based on outside events, but on how we handle them. Seneca said that the things that happen to us don't shape us, but how we deal with them that does. The most important thing to do in times of drama and conflict is to keep a level head and not let bad feelings and hasty actions take over. So how can we avoid getting caught up in drama? To stop these habits, you must first learn to recognize and understand what makes them happen. Next, work on controlling your emotions and thinking positively, instead of responding automatically and making things worse. Take some time to think and come up with better ways to end this. Finally, keep in mind that real peace and happiness don't come from solving daily problems. They come from accepting ourselves and others and living in peace with them. Signs number 10. You never help other people. Supporting others is an important part of all relationships, from family to work. Supporting others doesn't just mean giving them money, it also means encouraging them, sharing, and being there for them when things go wrong. But why is support so important? And why do some people not want to give it? In many cultures, support is seen as a core value and the basis of long-lasting relationships. For example, in Eastern cultures, support is seen as a core value and the basis of relationships. In some Western cultures, community spirit and helping each other out are always stressed. Independence and individualism can make people less interested in helping others. However, helping others is still important for building a peaceful and growing society, no matter what culture you're from. History is full of great leaders who were always willing to help others. Nelson Mandela was one of the most famous figures in the fight for freedom and justice. He fought for his own rights, but he was also always willing to help those around him. Throughout his life, Mandela believed in the power of support and unity. He used his power to help the community and encouraged everyone to work together to make the future better. Stoic thought, especially the ideas of Marcus Aurelius, also stresses how important it is to help other people. Marcus Aurelius wrote a poem called "We are born to work together like feet, hands and eyes like the 2 rows of teeth, upper and lower." In it, he said that everyone has a duty to help society grow. He believed that helping others not only makes the community better, but it also makes us better people. Aurelius thought that helping others and being kind were ways to show respect and love for them. Finally, ask yourself, have you ever gotten support that you will never forget? Tell your story to motivate other people. Supporting each other is not only a nice thing to do, but it's also a way to make society more humane and compassionate. Let's create a place where everyone is willing to help each other, because that's the only way to find lasting happiness and success. After looking at the 10 signs that you might be acting toxic because you have too much control. Whether it's jealousy, lack of empathy, disrespecting personal boundaries, or not admitting your mistakes, each of these signs is a chance to think about yourself and make changes for the better. As Marcus Aurelius said, the quality of your thoughts determines the happiness of your life. Be aware of whether you have any of these signs and start changing to become more positive. At the same time, be selective in your relationships and stay away from toxic people to protect your soul and peace. Change starts with you, and the journey of self-improvement is the way to lasting happiness. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our other journeys. Go. Goodbye and see you again soon.